Okay, welcome to our first lesson on exponents. This is just a bit of an introduction and then some information about the first kind of things you need to know. We've already talked a bit about this warm-up during our online classes. If you weren't able to make those, then I will reach out to you individually. But you should have a basic understanding of what exponents are and how they work and things like that. So you've moved into this new section here, the green one, about learning something new. So a new thing for us in this class is going to be this guided notes section. They will be printed off for you, so you don't need to do them online. I want you to write them by hand. And it's something that I'm going to check as we go through this sequence of lessons. They are in a Google document, but the space has been made for you to write this by hand. So the idea is that you write it out. But all the lessons that you need will be hyperlinked here. Okay, at the moment I'm making this one, so it's not going to be linked here just yet. Okay, and then there's practice problems. Some I'm still working on adding in, but the practice problems for this first one are here, the exponents basic practice on Khan Academy. Make sure you're logged in so that I can see your progress. And then you'll work through at your own pace with me helping you on the rules of powers. That's our first topic, and then we move into scientific notation and then some solving equation stuff. It kind of gets harder as we go, and there's extra practice if people are interested in challenging themselves more. So our first lesson here is the introduction. I've just given it to you. I explained a bit about the document and how we're going to add guided notes. And now we're going to talk a bit about powers of 1 and powers of 0. So I would prefer to do this at the board, but because I'm recording my screen, it's much easier. I will use this document here. Okay, we'll see if it records this. Perfect. So powers of 1, we have two situations. You could have a base of 1, okay, and clearly 1 to the power of 3 is 1 times 1 times 1, and that gives us 1. 1 to the power of 2, 1 times 1, also gives us 1. So anytime you have a base of 1 and any power, you're going to get an answer of 1. This is an interesting situation that I'll talk about in the next slide. Also, if you switch it around and you have a base with a power of 1, so 2 to the power of 1, for example, you just end up with that number back, right? 2. It's not being multiplied by anything. It's being multiplied by itself, but only once. So 2 to the power of 1 is clearly just 2. 7 to the power of 1 is clearly just 7. 129 to the power of 1, same. Okay? Often we don't write the 1 because we know that 2 to the power of 1 is 2. We just write 2. We don't put a power there. Like right here, you can see, that there's no power. So typically you'll see it written without the number, without the exponent there. Okay, so it's important to remember that piece as we move on into the next lessons. Powers of 0. This is one that I will catch students out all the time, even students in grade 11 and 12. I say, what's 200 to the power of 0? And they say 0, or they say 200. But it's always 1. Anything to the power of 0 is going to give you 1. That's why they have the letter A here. Any number to the power of 0 gives you 1. Except they have one situation here. If you had 0 to the power of 0, it's not possible. Okay? So any number to the power of 0 gives you 1. So for example, if we follow along here, like 2 to the power of 3, that's 8. 2 times 2 times 2. 2 to the power of 2 is 4. 2 to the power of 1 is 2. Well, what's 2 to the power of 0? It's going to be 1. I just told you that's the rule. But the reason in this situation is because as we move down from 8 to 4, we're dividing by 2 each time, right? 8 divided by 2, 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 divided by 2, 1. Okay? So that's one way that the pattern kind of works. As we decrease the power, we're dividing by the base in this case. And if we do 2 divided by 2, we end up with 1. There's another explanation that we'll learn as we go through the next lessons. Okay, but that's the explanation I want you to focus on for now. Okay, so that's our first two pieces of information about that. In your guided notes, you'll see there's 2 questions. What is the rule for powers of 1? So take what I just explained to you and write it in your notes and explain why. And then what is the rule for powers of 0 and why? And that's what I just explained to you. So I want you to kind of prove to me that you've answered those 2 questions in your guided notes. All right, thank you, and I look forward to the next lesson.